Hi, this is Kim Watson from Easy Trader, looking at the week ahead in key news stories. Okay, what I'm going to do here is just look at the key news stories, and also I'll have a quick look at the markets afterwards. Firstly then, my key stories really start on Wednesday, although there are a couple of figures that are coming out before then that may create a smaller movements, particularly this afternoon at 1500 hours UK time. We've got the pending home sales coming out, so that may create a little bit of action. The home sales overall, or any of the three key numbers that come out around there hadn't been causing much of a stir up until recent months, and they're starting just to create a little bit more of movement in the market. So there is potential that we could look at those in the future. At the moment, I'm really dismissing it as being a key event, because we've got so many proper key events coming out during the week. Okay, so my attention is really going from Wednesday onwards, and it starts looking at the US ADP non-farm payrolls. There's actually three employment figures coming out this week. There's the obviously the ADP non-farm payrolls. There's the usual unemployment figures that come out on Thursday, and then there's the key non-farm payrolls that comes out on Friday. This one here is a secondary version. It's on a smaller sample than the proper non-farm payrolls figures, but it can move the markets 40 odd pips on quite a few occasions. Last month we saw the dollar yen move the most, and that moved just over 30 pips, so it was a relatively modest move. Not always tradable, obviously, because it moves so fast, but there are some opportunities maybe if there's a big miss. Now the estimate is expected to come in around 179 compared to the previous 188. Following this, we got the US advanced GDP. The advanced GDP is generally the most important because it's the first time traders get to see the sort of higher top line number of growth for the US. Now, the only thing to say about this is that quite a few of the figures that build up the GDP are released prior to the GDP figure itself coming out, so its actual effect on the market, unless it's a big miss, is often relatively modest. But we'll see. It may provide us a trade and a bit more of a move. It is still a very key figure. Following on from this, we have the US Fed interest rate decision. Again, the interest rate decision itself is unlikely to create much of a stir, but the statement that comes with the announcement is much more important. We've had lots of conflicting news coming out from different members of the Fed recently, and it'll be good to see if there's a bit of a clarification within the statement, and that's what we're really looking for on Wednesday. So moving on to Thursday, first figure really coming out in the morning is a key figure in the UK manufacturing index coming out at 928. We'll say 930 on all of your news calendars, but it actually comes out 2 minutes before it's released by Reuters to key players at 9:28. So out it comes. So we should get some reasonable movement from that. We had some reasonable moves recently, which have created us some good opportunities. We got a 40 pip move in July, which was a bit less than the usual. A bit more than usual rather. Generally we're looking around about 20 pips movement on that, which is less tradable, but if we can get another positive surprise, it will be good. The figures expected to come out around about 52.8. So we'll see what comes out there, but there is a possibility. Of course, then there's the UK interest rate decision. Now there's very little chance of the interest rate itself being moved, but again the market will look to this statement that is released with this interest rate decision, whether there's more clarification in terms of what's going to come forward. There's been lots of speculation. Last month we had a bit of clarification in terms of there was no chance of the interest rate being increased too quickly by Carney, which was good, but we saw then a 140 pip move come from that, which it's very nice. If we could have the same again, please. It'd be very nice if it'd tip us off on what's happening first. But seriously, a very key figure. As I say, the statement's the key thing there. And then again with the euro interest rate decision at 12:45, rarely get much of a move from the interest rate decision itself. We'll be looking forward though to Draghi's press conference at 1:30. And again, the general news tends to roll shortly after the press conference has started, and especially when he gets into the sort of Q&A session. Often see some really nice moves. We've seen moves of over 150 pips coming from the ECB press conference, so it'll be interesting to see how that moves this time. Thursday's capped off with the US manufacturing index at 3 o'clock UK time. Sorry, these are all UK time. So manufacturing index, we've seen in the past sort of quite steady moves, 50 pips in June, but it's sort of eased back to this month. The estimates are around about 52.1, up from 50.9. Anything above 50 is growth. So it'll be, providing it doesn't dip down below that 50 level again, we should be okay. If it dips down below 50, well, I think we'll get quite a big move from it. If it's much above the 52% area, we may get a decent move to the upside as well. Okay, Friday, the last day of the week. Key figures here: UK construction PMI doesn't really. I mean, we've seen sort of 20 plus pip movements in this sort of news event on regular occasions. However, July's figure came in flat to expectation and only gave 11 pip move, so there's a bit of chance of volatility. But of course, the key figure everyone would be looking for is like coming out later in the day. The one that gets the brokers twitching is the non-farm payrolls at 1:30. Now we've had for many months now some very good moves around this number, averaging over 60 pips. We've traded for last month, actually we averaged 35 pip gain on the move, so in our trading room. So some really good moves come out of this particular event, so we'll be watching that quite closely. So they're the key events this week. Let's just have a very quick look at the markets, and we'll start off looking at the euro dollar here. Now, excuse me, this chart looks a little bit, that's better. The euro dollar, now we had a big bullish engulfing on Thursday. Friday didn't really come to much, and wouldn't be too shocked if today if we just get an inside bar. We've got the pivot R2 but above us here, which may provide resistance if we do start getting a bit of a run up. But there is a good potential that we could run back up towards the previous highs there from June. There's certainly a potential to run up to that 134 area. If we do start seeing breakdown during the week, well, we'd be looking at possible support towards the 132.11 area, and then maybe back even to the monthly pivot. The new monthly pivot obviously is going to be below us. We often get a draw towards that in the earlier part of the month, so it'll be interesting as we lead towards the first and second Thursday, Friday of this month, or this week rather, whether we'll see some early retracement to that sort of area. Okay, let's have a look at cable, pound dollar. And the pound dollar, similar sort of picture, big bullish engulfing on Thursday. Friday didn't really come to much. At one stage, both the euro and the pound looked like they were putting in some bearish haramis, but in the end they've just put dojis in, which equally could be a reversal candles. But at the moment, if you were a betting man, you'd probably bet to the upside or continuation side on these moves. There's certainly plenty of scope for them both to move up yet. Finally, I'll just cover the yen, dollar yen. It's had a really decent move recently. We've had this sort of ABC. This is a correction back to its monthly pivot. Eventually, it's just gone slightly through on a nice one-to-one correction. Let me just clear that off. But we had a nice one-to-one correction on this ABC movement we've had here. Now, whether this is going to see a bigger correction, we'll wait and see. Lots of speculation on the yen. It has gained continues, or it's really the dollar weakness we've seen here, but effectively the yen's then gained on that basis, and it's probably been slightly stronger than the euro and the pound relatively. Now the Japanese Bank of Japan, the main governor there, has suggested that he would like to see it in the 105-110 area over the next few years. Now, I don't expect that to be happening anytime soon, but it's certainly a figure that may give us some upside potential at some point for the dollar. But dollar yen, we'll see how it runs. But for now, it's certainly looking to the bearish side for the for the dollar. We'll see how this runs, but as I say, new monthly pivots on all of these coming in this week. This is going to be pretty flat, not too far away from price. It may just be pulled up and hit quite quickly. Okay, that's it for me. Hope you have a great week trading. I'll be back next week. Bye for now.